Hey everyone, Drew here, and today I am going to go through all the anniversary banners and tell you which are the best ones based on data. So let's get right started with the banner A, which gets 72 out of 100 points, which is a very good rating. We do see former number ones on this banner, which are Dark Jean and Storm Elmina, both of which are still having and enjoying some relevance. Then we have Light Mira, a great support, and then we also see Storm Antares, who is the oldest unit that is still holding on to a top 10 spot in my SSR world rankings. So all around, very decent banner, although the trajectory for some of them might be leaning into the negative currently. That said, banner B is much worse, getting a rating of just 9 points out of 100. We do see Rin and Dark Ossia, who are decent poison units, but the other two dark poison units that we have on this banner, Dark Reset and Dark Callen, have long lost the relevancy. Dark Reset was really strong at the beginning of 2.0. Unfortunately, that is already over 2 years ago. And on the other hand, we have Dark Callen, who has this nice kind of mechanic with the Savage Mega Poison, but yeah, it's just not really a factor in the arena at this point anymore. Rin at least has the kind of Hold Ground Plus and some nice active skills, and Dark Ossia also has a very specific skill set, and both of which could potentially benefit from the recent poison release in Earth Ossia. So banner B is probably an easy skip, and banner C, unfortunately at this point, kinda too. It gets just 25 points, which is even a bit surprising for me, but yeah, I mean, Water Jean is the strongest unit on this banner. It is a sleep unit. We have Light Callen as well as a strong kind of sleep unit, but she's kind of falling off recently. The same is true even more so for Earthray, who was a big factor in Arena for quite a long time, but I think with the release of Storm Jean at the very latest, she got much less relevant. And then we have Merlin, who isn't really a big factor in top level Arena, but an argument that can still be made for her is that one copy would still bring you good value with her. Now on the second poison banner, the banner D, we are getting into more positive territory again. 45 points for this banner, and this banner is very obviously carried by two units. That is on the one hand Earth Ossia, and on the other hand Earth Anya, the 100% guard that after over a year is still very relevant, even more so in the current Storm meta, where all these kind of Storm units have an elemental disadvantage against her that cannot be ignored. Dark Alice is also decent, especially for a poison team, but there are just some limitations that make her really difficult to fully unfold her potential. Sometimes she can really pop off, but I explained in previous videos before how her TU limitations in the skill descriptions are just a bit too much. And then we have Shuten Daoji, who is arguably the weakest unit on this banner, but can still do some work for a poison team, even potentially for a blood team. And so yeah, if you wanna get a poison unit, then this is definitely the banner to go and not the banner B. And then we are already at the banner E, and this one gets an absolutely crazy amount of 90 points. And going through, the charts on this banner, it really isn't that surprising anymore. I mean, we do have first up kind of Storm Jean, the current number one in my SSR world rankings, and I think arguably the best unit in the game right now. We have Mitsuchi, who is falling off a bit. I mean, she has already been out for nearly 1.5 years, but she's still a very good finisher. Then we have Light Anya, this new SSR 100% guard with the stun absorber passive. And then we also have Bride Ludmilla, who has been the best SSR guard for quite a long time. So arguably you have the best 2 SSR guards on this banner, the best unit in the game in Storm Jean, and possibly the best finisher in the game in Mizuchi. So really there can't go anything wrong on this banner. So if you don't have any of these units fully awakened, I would highly recommend going for this banner. That said, the next banner is also a solid choice potentially. This one is kind of carried by, of course, the one and only Earth Musha, and then also Water Snow White with the counter skin and healing stealth combo and the Deadly Sleep passive still playing quite nicely. Gavine, one of the newer units with the Hold Ground Plus and potentially very, very big damage output. And then we also see Haku as a great supporter unit, one that also helps a lot at 1 copy, as we saw, with Light Mirai, who also helps at 1 copy a lot. And so this is overall a very, very solid banner. It gets 64 points from my calculations. And just as the banner D with the poison units, this banner G with the burn units also gets 45 points. Now, why is that? We basically see the 3 strongest burn units in the game on this banner, and that is Freya, Bright Astrid, the 100% guard, and Fire Ilmina, the unit that has the burn stun entry and also plays quite nicely with the AI. And on the other hand, we also see Fire Hibiki, who is definitely by far the weakest pick of this banner. Still kind of nice, this kind of burn crisis combination when she came out over 2 years ago. Obviously a smash hit, but at this point she's well past her prime. Speaking of past prime, we have a banner H with just 21 points. And I mean, we do have a very good unit in Dark Rainer, for example, here, who can drain the enemy team's spirit and also multiply. The same about the multiplication is true for Jirel, the new Earth unit, which can do quite well, but in established top servers in the arena, I don't think she will become a big factor. And then on the other hand, we do have some older units. We do see Dark Snow White, which was actually a former number 1 in the SSR World Rankings, but now she's just too far gone. A great starter unit, but she doesn't make the cut against many other starter units now, and so she kind of fell off the cliff hard. Light Jean is still kind of decent, but just outclassed by so many other units, and she also has the potential to screw up your team with an unlucky banish. So overall, not so good. I would rather, for example, pull on the next banner I, which gets 60 points, so is one of the top banners as well. We do see Lancelot, which doesn't need a lot of introduction at this point. She is this kind of counter skin, stealth, time strike unit. And in the same vein, we have Storm Ludmilla, who is just a really, really good stun support that can also dish out some great damage. We do see Storm Ossia, who is a bit less popular these days. I mean, honestly, she has been out for such a long time already, so still holding on somewhat. I mean, the Hold Ground Plus is still relevant. She can still get off her flip stun random, but all in all, at this point, she isn't that good anymore. So definitely the weakest pick that you could get from this banner, but still potentially usable as a pseudo guard if you don't have a fully staffed team yet. And then we also see Sun Wukong, another Storm Stealth unit with a Stealthy Vengeance passive, and that one is also quite a good unit. So yeah, this Storm banner gets 60 points, is something to consider. And then we have the last banner, which is banner J, and this one gets 32 points. It's kind of a weird mix, I would say. We have Apollo and Artemis here, these burn and stealth units. that are decent but have some weaknesses. Then we also see Lightlet Miller, the oldest SSR guard, who is still quite good, but I think with the release of Light Anya, she is becoming less relevant again. And then we also see Lighty Beaky, who really fell off a bit with the recent releases, you know, the kind of deadly passives and some other things, you know, the kind of savage preferences, which made her kind of lucky Moris fell off a bit. And then we have Storm Anya, who was the dominating unit at the beginning of 2.0, but this is also no longer the case. One of her main benefits, the kind of auto barrier and also damage reduction while she is a guard, is less relevant when we have so many units that ignore damage reductions. This means the clear number one banner to pull for is Banner E with 90 points. Now, as a rule of thumb, if you already have 1 or 2 fully awakened units on a banner, then I would probably not risk it if there's still some other great banners available to use. We don't know for sure yet if it's gonna be paid soulstones only again, but it is obviously very likely. If not, that would be an extreme surprise from Sixer, so don't expect that. So you do need 1000 paid soulstones for pulling on one of these banners, most likely. And you can only decide for one of these banners, so choose wisely. And you obviously have no guarantee that you get the one char of a banner that you want. That is kind of why I do this kind of portfolio review. You have 4 units on each banner, and each of these units has a kind of certain strength going with it. But with this banner E, there's really not much that can go wrong for you, and some other banners as well. Obviously, the one banner that I would absolutely not recommend you pull for is the banner B. Except if you want them for a fellowship or something like that. I hope this was helpful for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe to become a true carrot. And as always, thanks for watching.